Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me for another beer review. Hope you're all well. It's Friday. We all love a Friday. Couple of days off now. I've got to go in for about half an hour tomorrow, and that is it. Hopefully we've all got a couple of days off now, like I say, to enjoy the weekend. Hope you're well. If I'm looking a little bit glassy-eyed, I've just got out of the bath, so I do apologise. I always look like that when I get out of the bath. So yeah, let's crack on with this beer review because that's what I'm here to do. And we are taking a look of the fifth beer out of six that I got from Brewed. It's actually called Our Brewery, but it's by Brewed if you like. And we are taking a look at The Crunch Brown Ale. It's coming in at 4.2% in a 440ml can. These cost about £3 each. They were a bit of an offer. It was like 6 beers in a glass for 20 quid, reduced from 22. There's a bit of a Father's Day thing. What have I thought of the beers so far? Some have been good, some have been a little bit average, some have been, they've been all right, to be honest. The artwork's really nice on their cans as well. They're out of Northern Ireland, Randallstown. And in this beer, it's saying toasty biscuit malt notes complemented with traditional English ale yeast, rich and malt flavours balancing caramel, nutty and toffee notes. Ingredients: water, grain, crisp marisotta, French and Jups crystal, and chocolate and black. The hops are Goldings, and it's Brewed bold British ale yeast used. So there we go. There's the can. There's a glass at the ready. It's been out the fridge for about 15 minutes. That's only set at about 5 degrees anyway. I've had it in my hand, so I think it is warming up. So let's get it cracked open and see what we get. 4.2% is a nice sort of easygoing sort of percentage. I do love a brown ale, and hopefully this one's going to be good. When you read the spiel on the back, they always sound fantastic, don't they? Generally, they know how to build a beer up. But probably generally, from my experience, probably only about 30% really live up to what they say. What am I expecting from this? We shall see. I'm expecting something traditional. Hopefully it's got them flavours. It's probably going to be quite light and thin, but we'll see. Beer in a glass. It's sort of like a very deep, dark, sort of mahogany sort of colour, I would say. It's looking black on the screen because we've got the light on it. We've got just about a finger, maybe a tan head on top. There's a few bubbles going up. The head is nice and compact, which is generally a good sign. So let's try and give it a little bit of a swirl. I've filled it up a little bit too much. There is some left in the can. Let's give her a sniff. Oh yeah, that smells nice. That does. Oh, nutty, roasty, coffee. Brown ale, I would say, well, it is, I suppose, you know, it sort of feels a little bit more stout-like, if you like, on the nose, but it's got a big nuttiness in there. Now, yeah, when you have sort of like a stout, if you're like a hazelnut stout or something, you do get that in it, but it's got the nuttiness of a brown ale as well. It smells really good. There is chocolate in there as well. Does smell very nice indeed. Does smell very nice indeed. Like I say, there is a bit left in the can. There is quite a bit left in there, to be honest. So the beer may well change. It does seem quite carbonated just looking at it when I was pouring beer in. But let's stop talking. Our Brewery by Brewed, The Crunch Brown Ale, 4.2%. Cheers, everyone. Body, very, very light. It's a very light body on this beer. Just remember it's 4.2%, so, you know, and even the style of the beer isn't a beer that really carries some massive weight to it. It is very light, but I quite like the body because flavours in this are carrying it through, and we'll get to them afterwards. It is pretty carbonated, but they are small bubbles. Like I say, it is very light. Reasonably smooth to start off with. Once that carbonation sort of rushes up to your mouth, it does feel a little bit rough around the edges, so it's not the smoothest of mouthfeels, but that's only really when the carbonation sort of decides that it's going to sort of gush, if you like, a little bit. I'll try and get the rest in here. There we go, the rest is in there. Pouring the rest in there, quite vigorous. Did give it a little bit of a creamy feel in the mouth. It's very nutty. Front end malty, chocolate, roasty, coffee sort of kicks in. Nuttiness right behind that. There's a big nuttiness. You sort of pick the nuttiness up all the way through, but I'm going to say the sort of roastiness, the malts, the coffee sort of are the bigger sort of flavours, or the roastiness and then the coffee, and then you get the massive nuttiness. The coffeeness is there. It leaves a coffee sort of bitterness, which stays around for a bit, but it does fade. When it starts to fade, that nuttiness is what you're left with. The more you drink, I think you sort of lose a little bit of the maltiness. It is there, don't get me wrong, but you lose a little bit. The chocolate starts to sort of fade a bit. Roasty coffee notes. And again, nuttiness kicking in. Almost hazelnuts like you'd get out of a, like a whole nut from Cadbury's. Probably get told off for that. Am I allowed to advertise? I don't know. But yeah, it does leave you with a lovely nuttiness. There's sort of a slight sweetness on the front, which does tail off to a little bit of a coffee bitterness. But the more you drink some of these lighter beers, the more you drink, as your palate adjusts, that sort of starts to fade a little bit. But like I say, the one thing that is always there is that nuttiness on the end. And it really does leave a lovely sort of hazelnut sort of finish on it. I like it. I like it. Granted, yes, it's 4.2%. Yes, it's a little bit rough around the edges with the mouthfeel when the carbonation is going off. Yes, it's thin in body, it's light, but it does make it drinkable. 4.2%. Obviously you don't get, but the flavours in this beer are the thing that's really sort of carrying it for me. And there's enough sort of going on in the flavour for you to kind of ignore the body, ignore that little bit of roughness around the mouthfeel. So for me, yeah, Get Her Brewed, or Our Brewery by Get Her Brewed, the Crunch Brown Ale, I like that. I like that. Don't expect this massive craft beer sort of explosion in your mouth. The flavours are there, the beer is nice. Is it worth £3? I'm going to put this along the lines of a £3 supermarket sort of craft beer. It's not terrible. And I think really that wouldn't look out of place on a supermarket shelf really as a brown ale. A lot of people would say, yeah, it's light and this, that and the other. Expect that. But the flavours are there, does the job for me. I like it. It's getting a thumbs up from me. If you've had it before, let me know what you think. Feel free to comment. What else is there to say? I don't know. Let's just end it there. Thanks for watching. See you on another one. Cheers.